Brandon Graham is officially back as a Philadelphia Eagle. Good morning, Hugh.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Philadelphia. Congratulations to BG for coming back. That was a short retirement. Congratulations.
It was a short retirement. And you know what? It's hopefully a return that we're going to be smiling about for a long time. All right, the news is out there. Look, it's been out there basically since Sunday. It was one of those, when we were on the air for the pregame show Sunday, and Elliot chimed in, he's like, I got news over here. And he was referencing all the insiders across all the networks saying, yeah, it sounds like Brandon Graham is considering coming back, right? And then it kind of bled into yesterday, and everyone started saying it was imminent, it was going to happen. Well, this morning, Brandon Graham announced it himself. He is back. Brandon Graham officially is a Philadelphia Eagle once again. Hugh, it's one of those things where it almost feels like what he deep down wants meets what the Eagles now need, which is another edge rusher. I remember when we played his retirement press conference, I didn't get the sense that he really wanted to retire. I didn't get that sense. I got the sense that he maybe thought it was the right moment, like it all kind of coalesced. They won the Super Bowl. It was a storybook ending. But I didn't get the sense, based on the way he sounded last spring, that he really wanted to leave. I thought he still had football left in him, maybe some good football left in him. Well, obviously he does. Hugh, your thoughts as it is official now, Brandon Graham back as a Philadelphia Eagle.
I'll say this. You always want to play, because even – I would venture to think that me, John, and Ike would love to play, but we can't.
I've asked you many times how many snaps you have left.
Yeah, I mean, but the reality is I can't.
Yeah.
Not at the level that I see myself playing at. Brandon feels like he can still play at that level. Who am I to tell him that he can't? He has to go out there. He's the only one that knows how his body feels. And I'll say this to all of that. Once the game is gone, there's nothing you can do. There's no magical pill or whatever you can do to get that feeling back or be able to play at the level that you once played at. So if he feels like he can play, go out there and do it. Do it as long as you can.
Yeah, look, I think across the board today, we're all happy for Brandon Graham. And, the more we get to watch an all-time Eagle wear the uniform again, it's fun, right? Like, if you're going to the game on Sunday and he gets to run to that tunnel, we'll see if he's going to play Sunday. Some reports out there he could be ready for as quickly as this Sunday. That's fun. Like, it's 55, right? It's BG. He's an all-time Eagle, and he gets to play again. It is fun to feel that and watch him play again. The question in my mind, and what I thought about this morning, is does it really change what I feel and what we feel about the team? And I think there's going to be a sense of, hey, it's a depth piece. How much really could it change things? But the more I think about it this morning, as it is official now, right? It's gone from idea to reality. It does change how I feel about the 2025 Eagles, and I think it gives them a much better chance to go and try to achieve their goals. Let's unpack this for a second. They needed depth at edge. Regardless if his name was Brandon Graham or Zadarius Smith or whoever else they were going to bring in, they needed another edge rusher. Well, they just got it. They just added an edge rusher today, and they didn't have to go through the trade deadline to do it, which means they have their resources to use on other things. If you would have wrote down this morning or Saturday morning 3 positions of need, edge rusher would have clearly been near the top of the list. It would have been one of those 3 things. They got that. They added an edge rusher, and it just so happens to be it's an all-time Eagles great that we've watched for 15 years. So they added a spot they needed. They also, and I've said this since the offseason, they have lacked leadership on the defensive side. If Brandon Graham is out there in week 1 on the field, does Jalen Carter spit in Dak Prescott? I don't know, but he might not. Brandon Graham might remove him from the situation. I feel like this team on the defensive side has lacked leadership the entire season. They've gotten a heck of a lot of penalties. They've allowed big plays. They have just seemed like they've been very young on that side. And now you bring another vet into the building. So I like that about this move, that we have a veteran to bring into the mix. So it's the depth at the position. It's the leadership. Howie Roseman could now use his resource at the trade deadline to go get a corner instead of having to get a corner and an edge, or maybe just an edge and not a corner. Go get the corner, because now we have extra edges. And I don't want to go overboard and pretend we're getting Brandon Graham from 6 years ago. But I think as this has played out the last 2 days, we've almost forgotten the player he was last year. On the best Eagles defense I've ever seen, he was what? The second or third best edge rusher on the team? He wasn't a nobody last year. He didn't look done last year. Now, he got hurt twice, which was unfortunate, and Hugh probably speaks to his body breaking down a little bit as he ages. But there was a moment last season on the best Eagles defense I've ever seen where he was their best edge rusher. If you point back to the game he got hurt in Los Angeles against the Rams, I would have said at the end of that night,
oh yeah, he was doing his thing.
He's the best. it's only less than a year removed from that. The last time I watched him play, he could still play. So I'm going to go off until I watch him this week or next week, whenever he gets in the field. I'm going to go off of that's the last time I watched Brandon Graham.
That's what we all
what?
do, though, as fans.
Yeah.
That's what we go off of what we saw last.
Right. So that tells me it changes things. Last year, he made a difference on one of the best defenses we've ever seen here. So it adds depth, it adds leadership, and last time I watched him play, he could still play. This changes things for me for the 2025 Eagles. Hugh, does it change the equation for the team?
I have to see it, Joe. I'm excited. I'm excited for BG. I'm excited for the fact that he gets to put the Eagles uniform on one last time. But the reality is this: Father Time is undefeated. And we saw, whether we saw it in his play or his body breaking down, we saw it. We saw the fact that Father Time is starting to catch up with him. And, when you talk about I was talking to Landon last night, and we were talking about how it was when we left the NFL. I said, I got kicked out. I said, I tried to play as long as I did, and I got kicked out.
Yeah.
And I think Ike said something to the same effect. The bottom line is this in the NFL. As great as Brandon was as an Eagle, in order to get respect in that locker room, you got to be able to play. And he was able to do that last year, and that's why his voice resonated through that whole locker room. But if you can't play, then it's like the Lion King. Nobody's going to respect – the pride's not going to respect you if you're not out there making plays. You got to make plays, And then on top of that, how is he going to be received in the locker room? Because he's taking one of those young Thundercats reps. And when you look at it, even though they only had a couple sacks to show for it, to me, they rushed better last week. They rushed a little bit better last week.
Some of that is Carson Wentz. He invites the rush.
Listen, I hear what you're saying. Don't matter. Carson Wentz is getting paid. He got paid Tuesday or yesterday because he plays in the NFL. He's a professional. And those guys got after him a little bit.
Yeah, maybe if those guys had played better, they wouldn't have called Brandon Graham.
Well,
let's just be real
I think it's a depth piece. I think they did. I think they played better. Now, what does this mean for Jahad Campbell and his rushes? Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't know, but Brandon has to play well. I think Brandon has to play well in order to be a loud voice in that locker room.
I agree with that, but last year he played well.
He did last year. That's last year though, Joe.
Right, but we do that for everyone. So until I see him not play again,
no, you're right. I'm not trying to poo-poo what you're saying. My bad. I don't want you to think I'm trying to.
I think it works both ways. Yeah. For you need to see it. For me, it's the opposite. Like until I see him not play well, the last time I watched him play, he could still play.
Totally agree.
I think it's natural to be like, come on, he's old, he was retired. Is this really going to move the needle?
Come on, he's old.
I think that's a natural reaction today. Yeah. Like, how much is he going to change things? But I think when you add together depth, leadership, and the last time he played, he still could play.
Yeah.
This changes things. And I think it could change really the most important thing, which is what Howie Roseman focuses on at the trade deadline. Like, it's one thing to have 2 or 3 needs. It's another thing to have 1 need. And then you can focus your resources, your attention on go getting a second corner. 215-592-9490 for your reaction. We're all happy today. We're excited for BG. It's fun to watch him in an Eagles uniform again. But beyond just being happy and that natural reaction, I think it changes things for the team. Let's hear from Saquon Barkley this morning on with the Morning Show, talking about a charity event he had coming up, but also talking about BG and the impending return here.
If a player like, let's say, Brandon Graham, and a person like, let's say, Brandon Graham, were to rejoin your team, what would the impact be, as you see it, if Brandon were to come back and join the squad?
I love how you worded that question. If BG was to happen to come back to the Philadelphia Eagles, what do I think that would mean? I would think it would mean a lot. Just his presence, his leadership, just the way he comes into the locker room, the way he comes into the building every single day, it goes throughout the whole building, from the vets to the young guys. So if BG was to sign back, I would definitely be happy. And if I happen to see him working really hard, I know he would be ready. And if, there's a lot of ifs here, but if he comes back, I think it would really help our team out a lot.
Well, he said it. It's happened. It's official. BG is back. I like the way Joe asked that question. All the ifs, because it wasn't official yet. It is official now. Brandon Graham back. Does it change the way you feel about the 2025 Eagles? It does for me. Kyle, what are you feeling? BG back once again.
Yeah, I love Brandon Graham. He's one of my favorite Eagles ever.
We're when he retired. I can feel it, yeah.
There's one coming.
Yeah.
I said he was. I still think he's maybe the greatest Eagle to ever play, just considering the resume, all the things that he's done, and being here for 15 seasons, the
That's
Super Bowl
a
winning
long
play,
ass
all
time.
that stuff. Yeah,
Two-time Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, love Brandon Graham, but like to think that this changes anything about how I should view the defense or like the trade deadline, anything like that. Like I mean, you're going way too far. He's a depth piece. It's great. I felt more excited in terms of impact when we got Zadarius Smith. I mean, the guy had 9 sacks last season. And Brandon Graham had like 3.5. I mean, look, I mean this with all due respect.
It don't sound like it.
The biggest thing Brandon Graham did last year was go on WIP and air out Jalen Hurts and AJ.
Well, I included leadership as the second thing I said. Hold on, that was important.
It's true.
Was that important? He did that?
No, look, and it was.
No
and
respect
like
for your elders.
No. Well, look, the leadership
You
thing.
are so messy.
I think he's right on this.
I'm just trying to be honest.
Wait a minute. You just sat here and sang his praises, but seriously?
Leadership is an important thing. Sometimes you know this. Sometimes you got to yell at people to get their attention.
Sure.
And he did it for 20 minutes
You
last year on
got
WIP.
to yell at the right one.
And that part of it's fine, but like, look, if this thing was going to spiral out of control, I don't think Brandon Graham is saving it. I don't know. The impact on the field, like it's a depth piece. Fine.
But that's what he was last year.
I understand that, but he still looked like one of our best edge rushers all season long. I don't expect him to come in and be that right now. If you still ask me if we needed an edge rusher at the trade deadline, I would say hell yeah. Like that doesn't change that at all. So like it doesn't. I don't expect it to like add a win. I don't expect it to add like serious amount of production to where I'm sitting there on game day going like hell yeah, like Brandon Graham's back. Like it's fine. I love it. I'm happy. But like in terms of like how I look at this team, no, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, it does for me. I think we're actually underrating this a little bit. This is a guy last year. Again, it wasn't on a decent defense last year. He stood out for a lot of last season as the best edge rusher on a team that was the best defense we've ever seen here. Now, by the end of the year, Nolan Smith came on and Josh Sweat, had 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl. So what? Brandon Graham by the end was the third best edge rusher on the best Eagles defense of all time. That wasn't 3 years ago. And I know he's coming off another injury. It's fair to mention that. He's also come back from an Achilles. He's come back from a knee. He's come back. He's had an ability to bounce back from injuries throughout his career. I don't know, 35, 36?
Yeah. It's a little bounce back hit a little different when you get older.
Wait, didn't he bounce back from the torn triceps to come back and play in the Super Bowl?
He tore it again.
Yes. Well, but so did Nolan Smith. I mean, guys get hurt all the time, right?
I mean, but it's a little different when you're younger.
I guess Nolan Smith can't stay on the field. He's 24 years old.
Well, and his body type is a little different. He's a little more wiry. So there's that.
Well, can I throw this in?
Yeah,
Are we sure Brandon Graham's going to stay on the field?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Well, I'm not. But you say this all the time. I'm not sure that about any player, right? Like any player could get hurt.
I get that. I'm just
This feels like it turned from like praise to disrespect real quickly.
Well, listen, you started.
What do you mean? What I'm saying? How did I start it?
Well, people tune in and say they're like, "Oh, I bet Hugh's excited and Jillian's
I am excited, but
no,
I also
heard a twinge of we gotta see.
No, because I know what it's like to be. The one thing that I have over both of y'all is I know what it's like to be old. I know what that feels like.
We know.
And I know what it feels like to not be able to go back to back. So there's some things you have to worry about. But the one thing that I would never bet against is him as an individual.
Yeah.
I've been through this before. I've been through this with Trot. I remember when Trot went back to the Eagles, and I was talking to him, and he was working out with Andy. Andy had him working out doing drills. And I was laughing at him, and I was like, dude, what the hell you doing? He's like, hey, man. And he told me to a man. He said, God told me I had one more year left in me. And he played. And he played well. He played well. So I've learned from that moment never to underestimate somebody's desire to do something. So that's kind of what it's looking like with BG, but you still got to see it.
Of course.
Because even with Trot, you still had to see it.
And again, if he was coming off a year last year where he looked cooked, and then they try to drag this out one more time just so he could be a leader, then I would say, oh, come on, guys. But he didn't look cooked last year. He got hurt twice, I acknowledge that. But when he played last year, he still played really well.
Had a friend of mine just hit me up and said, tall as BG, talk about being a leader is indicative to failure. Why is there a dearth of leadership at the Eagles? Is that what are we talking about leadership, or are we talking about his actual ability to play?
I'm talking about both. And they do have a lack of leadership on the defense. They're all 24 years old. I mean, who's the leader? I mean, Jalen Carter's the leader? Jalen Carter spit on someone and got kicked out of a game. Like that.
Does he not do that at Brandon Graham's here, though?
That is different.
I don't know. But
does he do it with Brandon here? Yes,
I
of
don't know.
course
he does.
I don't know that.
Of course he does.
I don't know that. I don't know that he does.
I know. I'm here to tell you.
No, I don't know that.
First of all,
Tell him, Hugh.
First of all,
You played football, Joe.
no, we're not Ryan Clark and folks
No,
around these
come on,
parts,
Hugh.
man.
They wore leather helmets then. The game was different.
No, we're not
Okay?
Ryan
The
Clark
game
and
was
folks.
way different.
But I will say this. Brandon probably, more than likely, would not have been on the field when the game started,
maybe.
right?
I mean, that
So-
obviously, and to break it down literally, yeah, you're probably right.
So how you going to stop him?
Well, okay, but the point is, who are the vets on the defense? Like right now, do they have a player over the age of 30? There's no veteran.
Bond?
Zach Bond, I think he's 28, 29.
But he's still a vet.
One.
Still a vet.
So last year we had Slay,
Reed
and we had
Blankenship.
BG.
Reed Blankenship. Yeah, because
Come on,
Slay
tell
did
him.
give him the leadership mantle.
He's
and,
like 26.
and CJ got
he
upset.
Did. He did. You heard Slay, Joe.
If you don't,
He's gonna
if you
Reed's
guys
gonna
can't
step
see
up.
the leadership void we have on defense, I don't know
No,
what to tell
but
you.
here's the reality
They
of
got
the
Vic.
situation, though.
Vic, he's in the booth. Wearing
And Coach
sweatpants.
No Neck.
Coach, all right, 215-592-9494.
He did give you some examples, though. You just
I did.
poo-pooed
Yeah.
on
I
him.
mean, you just
No,
you
I'm
just
talking
wanted to
about
decide.
on the
You just
field,
pooped on
in the locker room.
You did. He gave you some pretty
I've
good
decided
examples.
today I'm the only former football player here. You guys obviously don't get it. I'm going to Ryan Clark you.